Ladies and gentlemen, we have Popin Pete with us.
Hey.
What's going on, man?
Oh, man, I'm actually in my car driving here in Las Vegas where I live. I just left teaching a private class to one of the Cirque dancers that's going to just do the Michael Jackson Immortal tour.
Wow, that's pretty cool. First of all, we'd like to say, we're very honored to have you on the show, man.
Oh, man, my pleasure, man, for real. No problem. I love talking, so you got the...
Man, how long has it been now? How long have you been popping?
Well, I started back in 1978. I was 16 years old. I'm 50 years old now. And I started, in June of 78. And so it's almost 34 years.
Wow. If people can go back in the history, it's like you never stopped doing it, and you still managed to be somewhat on top of the game. Like, how do you manage to do that?
What I did is dedicated myself to change. Understanding that music changed.
Right.
Clothing. So when the era changed, I started changing with that. Meaning, my ability to dance or to change the look of my dance is what I started doing. So I started incorporating the different things, on the same teaching principle that Sam taught me. When he saw things of life and he just looked at it and then put it within dance. So that's what I try to always tell people, I want to stay current. I'm never a person that, I don't like using the word OG. I never call myself the OG. Okay. That word is kind of synonymous to this whole thing of old.
Right.
I'm an OG, and it's like, okay, my thing is, I'm just a dancer currently doing what I do. So I just kind of push myself to the outer limits, man. I'm harder on me than anybody, man. No one is harder on me than me.
Right. And it's definitely taken you a lot of places. It's definitely gotten you a lot of gigs. I mean, you've been touring around the world. Whenever I see you on videos, you're like in China or Korea or somewhere.
Yeah, I'm definitely, the Asians love me, so it's like, I started traveling back when I was, overseas-wise, after I did the movie Breaking'.
Right.
So after I did the movie Breaking', that gave me the opportunity to go over because people saw the movie, or I went over to Japan when I did the promotional tour for the movie.
Right.
So they invited me back in '85. So I've been internationally touring going since 1985. So and it's just kind of like you do this thing and once you start getting your name out there, and then it's just like a snowball effect. Everybody wants that person to come, and it's not like it happens to everyone. It's not only me; it happens to a lot of people.
Right, definitely. With your popularity and with the fame, you're also going to get the haters out there. How do you deal with the non-believers and the stuff that want to question the credibility of the EBs?
Well, I'm like this, man. I've been doing this so long, and I've heard everybody. Every 10 years, it's a naysayer. It's a person who want to discredit us, and it's fine. Everybody has that right to speak whatever, but I will never, ever change what I know. And people can say, we are liars and this and that, and however you want to view it. But at the same time, I'm still moving forward, and I'm like Teflon, man. Nothing sticks. I just don't forget. And the whole thing about just people out here saying what they saying, I think people should have utilize their time more, and then worried about what the EBs are doing. Or now if it's a situation where people saying, and you found out that we're lying. See, people can still say they're lying, they're
Right.
this, they're that, and I still have challenged to people and say, if we're doing what we're doing as far as the style and the way we dance,
Yeah.
then why everyone always saying we don't like that EB crap? You know, and
Right.
if we got it from someone else, then why don't you hate the people we got it from? It
Right.
doesn't, see, that stuff doesn't make sense to me. People don't look at and read between the lines what people are saying. People
Yeah.
are not completely telling, or expressing themselves completely because, everybody just want to be on this, we don't want to agree with the EB, so we're going to go this far. And I've asked people, if someone says to them, the EBs didn't make it up, and you say, well, who did? Then people start saying, well, it came from this area. Well, what is the person's name? Because someone had to make something up. Nothing just materializes out of the air.
Right.
This is something, and I've yet to seen a phenomenon where a whole community city woke up on Saturday morning and they were doing all of them doing the same style.
Right. Right.
So, but everyone knows if you say Don Campbell made up locking, no one argues that.
Right. Right.
No.
No
But
one.
Sam made up Popin because everyone says sometimes because Popin is this umbrella term people trying to use for everything. You say Sam could have made up Popin. He didn't make up everything. Popping is one style of many. Popping is not the umbrella term for all styles because that takes away from the creators who created strutting, waving, cutting, and etc. If you start putting everything under popping, then those people don't get the credit. And then the credit seems like it's going to a person like Sam because we say Sam made up popping. Sam made up the style of popping we do. That's all I have to say.
Word. And as far as the word a pop lock.
Well, that word came around. I heard this back in 1979.
Right.
I was getting off the bus. I was living in Long Beach, California, and I got off the bus and I started popping.
Right.
And this guy said, "Oh man, you pop locking." I said, "I'm doing what?" I said, "There's a style called locking and a style called popping, so I'm not doing both of them at the same time." Because I was thrown for a loop because I didn't understand what was going on.
Right.
And prior to that, it was called popping.
Right.
Now, my question is, I want to know if everybody, because then there is three different things going on here. There's this sidebar. If people say we didn't make it up, and they say it comes from, let's just say, they say a lot of people say it comes from the Bay Area or whatever.
Right.
Then how did LA, which the technique of the dance is the same, make up something called the dance, not the name? It's two different things that people don't understand is going on here.
Right.
There is the name, and then there's the technique to the dance that looks exactly like what I do in the technique. Now, reason why I say this, because I can go many parts of LA and start popping or doing the boogaloo style, and some person will say, "Oh man, you pop lock."
Right. Right.
That's happened so many times over my career. So my whole thing is it just the name of areas you live in, or is it someone actually made up a style called pop lock?
Right.
Because if you made up a style called pop, I didn't learn it. It wasn't that when I was doing it. It was called popping prior to it getting to LA.
Right.
So, and even in the Bay Area, they don't say, the first thing comes to their mouth, they don't say pop locking.
Right.
So if we got it from the people in the Bay Area, and then the Bay Area don't call it the boogalooers or hot ED style, but then the pop locker is saying something totally different. This is what I'm saying to everyone. Everyone is so much on this name, and they're not deeply looking into the roots of what's going on.
Right. Right.
You can't say this place. It's okay. For example, in New York, they call it Electric Boogie.
Right.
In Cleveland, they call it flexing. It's the same technique. You go to different places. In France, they was once calling it the Smurf. So, what is right? It's got all these different things, but everyone points at the Electric Boogaloo. No, it's not called popping. It's called Electric Boogie. It's called pop lock. It's called Smurf. It's called flexing. Well, who the hell is right? Because if all them other people, why are no one attacking them? Why do they always attack us?
Right.
I've asked that question recently, and I've put it on Facebook, and no one came up with an answer. I said, if anybody else can tell me, and I'm saying it, put it out here to the listeners on your show. Right. If anybody out here can tell me who, if Sam didn't make up this thing, popping, that culminates into pop locking, who made up pop locking? The name of the person and the year. I challenged anyone.
Right. And no one answered, did they?
No one answered it yet. No one said. They just said, "Hey, that's the way it is," and But again, I don't understand if we all woke up at 6 a.m. Saturday morning and everybody in LA started calling it pop locking. If that's a phenomenon for you, boy, that's a phenomenon for you.
When you came down to LA, who were the people that you were showing the style to? Sam brought.
Well, we didn't come to L.A. I've never lived in L.A. Electric Boogaloos are not from Los Angeles.
You guys are from Fresno, right?
From Fresno via Long Beach, California.
Okay, that's Long Beach, right? Okay.
Is L.A. County? They say all that, but I had never had an address that said Los Angeles.
Okay.
That's not saying that it's not taking nothing away from that. I rep. When I'm overseas, LA or whatever, that's the biggest city that everybody know. If I say Lakewood, California, people go, "Where's Lakewood?"
Right.
That's where I also moved to. But came to Long Beach, there was no one doing what Sam was doing. I wasn't even doing it yet.
Right.
The first people that Sam actually started teaching was myself, this guy named George, Brian Keith, Daryl, and these names going to mean something to you once I tell you who these people are. A couple of people.
Right.
And my little brother, Becky. And these are just people that lived in the apartments where we were. I was 16. My brother was 14. And these other kids on the block was 13. Daryl, 13. So he started teaching some of the neighborhood kids.
Right.
But everyone around town started hearing about Sam, this guy named Blue Sam doing this weird dance. It was such a misunderstanding because no one ever seen it, because it was going around that this guy named Blue can twist his head around 360 degrees. His body can rotate around. His legs he got extra, like something about his legs stretch out, which all he was doing was this move called the walkout, the twisto flex, and Necco flex, stuff like that.
Right.
But people because they never seen it, so they over exaggerated because you didn't understand it back in 1978.
Right.
Now, these were, like I said, those people like Daryl and George. Daryl and George Daryl was 13. Daryl was the one who created through Sam's influence and teachings. He came over the style that is most popular around the world. It's called snaking. Daryl Johnson became King Cobra, and the snake, it's called snaking. It's not, Cobra style, whatever they want to say, but snaking.
Right.
He was once in the first group that Sam put together after he came from Fresno. That was Daryl and George. George also was in the Mysterious Poppers. The Mysterious Poppers consisted of Daryl, King Cobra,
right.
Kent, King Snake, King Python, George, King Rattler, and Bruno Falcone, a.k.a. Popin Taco, was King Snake.
Wow.